So now we have a first draft of all the elements of our product page from a copywriting standpoint. We have our title, we have our bullet points, and we have our product description. And now we are going to plug these into Helium 10. It's a tool called Scribbles to see which keywords that we came up with previously still need to be inserted into our product listing. So go ahead and save your Excel file, and then when you're ready, go ahead and open Scribbles. So if you go into Helium 10, on the left side here, it is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th option down here. So what we are going to be doing is go into your Excel file, and you now have your list of phrases that we're going to put in here and individual words. Put all that in there and go ahead and say apply. And so what it does is it'll put all the different words up here, and then these are the individual phrases that we want to make sure that we have intact. So the full phrase in that exact order. The different colors here of the words are the frequency with which they show up. And so protein and the search volume, right? So the ones that are on top are the most important to get in, and the ones on the bottom are less so, but still we want to try to get all of these in. So let's go ahead and plug everything in. We have our title here, and you see when you go ahead and you cover off on one of the keywords, it'll go ahead and underline it, and it'll cross it off on the left side here. So with our title alone, we've already got a bunch of these keyword individual words crossed off, and 2 of our key phrases covered off on. Then we're going to go ahead and plug in the bullet points. So bullet point 1, and sorry, I should mention that you really want to make sure you keep it to 200 bytes, 200 characters or fewer. So here, before we even plug in the bullet points, I'm going to go ahead and try to reduce this by 9 characters, because you won't even be able to upload it into Amazon if it is more than that. So we say Omega Fitness vegan protein powder with omega-3, organic, plant-based, and keto, good for post-workout inflammation and muscle repair, 21 grams of protein and 1,000 milligrams of omega per serving. Peanut butter, 1 pound, 30 servings. So I see here an opportunity for shortening this, and we can always include the word inflammation later. I think instead of saying good for post-workout inflammation, we can just say post-workout recovery, and get rid of good for. And so now we have Omega Fitness vegan protein powder with omega-3, organic, plant-based, and keto, post-workout recovery and muscle repair, 21 grams of protein, 1,000 milligrams omega-3 per serving, peanut butter, etc., etc. We are at 196 characters, so excellent. And so what you're also going to want to do here is you're going to keep this original listing, but you're going to want to copy over and make sure you save what you ultimately end up editing within Scribbles. So we're just going to add one more sheet here, and we're going to call this Scribbles listing. And we'll call it title, and just go ahead and copy it over so we don't lose it. Excellent. And then we'll do this for each of the bullets. Terrific. So for the next bullet point, so for the bullet points, you can go up to 200. It says here 100, but I think it's totally fine to go up to 200, maybe even a little bit more. You won't have an issue. You will have an issue when it comes to subject matter and when it comes to description and search terms. But we don't want to go too far over 200 characters here. So let's go ahead and plug these in. Vegan protein with recovery power. and the rest of it. Excellent. We'll plug in bullet point 2. You can see each time it's crossing off the words that we're covering off on here. Terrific. All right, so we now have our title in place. We have our bullet points in place, and you can see we're at 184 here, 249. So this might be a little bit long. I might need to come back and edit this one after the fact. I'll let you know if I do. But you want to try to keep these under 200 as best you can. Like I said, I might have to come back here and edit the second bullet point. Description. So we have our brand story, and then we can't just say muscle repair, inflammation, etc. We need some sort of intro to it. So what we're going to say is our motto is, and then ours is gains with recovery power, meaning our protein powders provide superior, and then we're going to just list. Now we have a sort of an intro into listing these things out. So we'll say muscle repair, and I'll show you how to format this when we get there. We'll say muscle repair, inflammation, relief, what did I say, building lean muscle, recovery time, and I'm just reading off the right here, all the hard work's already done, and pain relief. Excellent. Then we want to get into the characteristics. Now there are certain limits to how many lines you're allowed to put in your product description. So for this next one, I'm going to use the bar, the vertical bar as a spacer. So you'll see what I mean in a second. We are committed to using the cleanest ingredients, which are, here we go, vegan, and then a bar, and then organic bar, plant-based bar, gluten-free bar, non-GMO, dairy-free, whey-free, soy-free, so on and so forth. And then finally, we say our happy customers are using Omega Fitness in a variety of ways, including pre-workout and post-workout, meal replacement. Again, I'm just reading off the side here. Mid-afternoon snack, breakfast and dessert replacement, for inflammatory pain, for knee pain, back pain, and body aches, for aiding in diets and weight loss programs, as a bedtime snack, as smoothie boosters. And then finally, we have just our last little bit to cover off on sort of whatever other keywords we haven't yet used. So we can say designed for men. Oh, we have the whole sentence right here. Excellent. So now that we have all this in here, you can see that we've already covered off on a bunch of these words, and there are also a bunch that we haven't yet covered off on, especially when it comes to our phrases. We've only hit 3 of those phrases, and it's not vital that we hit all of them in the bullet points and title and description, because that's what subject matter is for and search terms are for. So there are, though, areas that and keywords that we can probably very easily fit into somewhere in the product listing. So immediately I see drink should be one that's quite easy to fit in. And so if we go back and look here, we can see, so actually I think it might make sense to add it into our product description. So we can say that drink. There we go. Pre and post workout drink. We can also put it here. Or the plural version of it, so meaning our protein. Alright, so we got drink under there, so now we use the word premier somewhere. So instead of superior, which I think we've used before, we can say premier. Excellent. Perfect. Actually, let's go ahead and instead of say superior here, we'll say premier. Our motto is gains, meaning our protein pairs provide premier. No, that sounds a little funky, huh? And so it sometimes takes a little while to figure out where you're going to actually plug these words in, but for perfect, we can say the perfect mid-afternoon snack, so that gets crossed off. And I'm just going to go ahead and continue to go down this list and see which ones I'm able to cross off. And then when we're absolutely stumped, then we are going to go ahead and put the rest of them into the search terms. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and let you know when I'm stumped, and invite you to do the same with yours. So go ahead and plug in your title, plug in your bullet points, and see which words you have yet to cover off on, and we'll get going. Alright, so I've gone ahead and I've added probably another 5 or 6 of these keywords, maybe a little bit more to my bullet points and my description, and now it's time to use the rest of them in the search terms, and I'll show you what we'll do with these phrases in a second. So hopefully this is able to cover off on all of them. We have, Amazon has some rules around, or some literature around, not using competitors in your search terms. Worst they can do is just remove them or ask you to remove them, but everyone does it, and I've never seen Amazon sort of do anything about it. So for right now, let's go ahead and include the competitors in there. If you need to remove them later, it's fine. So we've got Orgain, Gold Standard, we got Vega, and we're just using a space. We're not using a comma or anything in between these. We have Quest, Sostra, and I'm just going down this list here of terms. Hemp, protein misspelled IEN, Ascent, cow, Herbalife, collagen, isolate, and so on and so forth. I do use the word sports in here, but I don't use the word sport. Now, Amazon plurals do make a difference. So if you have, I have powder and powders, shake and shakes. So those are 2 different keywords, just to be aware. Slim Fast, and you can see kind of this byte count adding up, and 250 is absolutely the maximum. It won't let you even save your product edits if you're over that count. So we have Ready, Shakeology, Supply, Combat, ISO, Pure, JYM, might be kind of coming close here, Casein, Fusion, Greens, Superfood, and I usually just go in the order from the top down because they use it. It should be in terms of search frequency, although I did see, at the bottom here, gluten. Oh, I covered off on that because we're gluten-free. Wonderful. newsest, clean, ideal, diet. I thought I used diet somewhere. Crush, supplement. I've used supplements plural before, but this is singular. Vegetarian and women's. I've used women, but not women's. So excellent. We now have all of our keywords completely covered off on in individual words. We've used them all. Look at that. Perfect. Now for the individual phrases, we are going to plug those into the subject matter. Now, subject matter is sort of an overlooked thing, but it's been hypothesized that these terms get automatically indexed, and so these are potentially your most important area. I say potentially only because there was one keyword with utopia that we did have in our bullet points and our title and everywhere, and we couldn't get indexed for it for some strange reason, and as soon as we put it in subject matter, we became indexed for it. And so here we want to put the full phrases in, and so we have 50 bytes per, and since we already have 1, 2, 3, 4 already covered off on, let's go ahead and do all the other ones, and then if we have room at the end we can put those again. So we'll say organic protein powder, and you can go up to 50 bytes, so we'll go organic protein powder, keto protein powder. We're at 42 bytes there. Oops, no, powder. We'll go to the next one here. Plant-based protein powder. Plant protein powder. Post-workout recovery drink. Lactose-free protein powder. Oh, we're over the count there, so let's use a different one. Let's use, oh, we only have 2 left here. So let's go back here. We'll say protein shake. Here we'll go lactose-free protein powder and dairy-free protein powders. Oh, we went over. Let's plug that last one in here. Dairy-free protein powders. And here it looked like that they added an S on. Be careful, sometimes Scribbles will add an S on to the end of your word, so just be careful there. And then I said we're going to go back on these top ones. We've already used protein powder 7 times, but we can probably use meal replacement shakes and vegan protein powder once more. So here, let's go meal replacement shakes. Oh, we're over by 1. So let's go here, meal replacement shakes. So we've used that twice now. And here, let's go vegan protein powder. All right, so we have now covered off all of our individual words and all of our most important phrases. You can see how useful a tool like Scribbles is to make sure you're completely fully optimized. And so what's awesome here is they will spit out, or Scribbles will spit out this into a really nice CSV. So in the top right here, go to export to CSV. You can open it up. And then you can just copy everything over here. And what I like to do is, so I'll copy it to the Scribbles listing. I already think I made one here. I'm going to Control V, but before I paste it, I'm going to actually select this transpose tool. And so we have it in a slightly nicer to look at version. And then where it says wrap, I want to press that once and then twice to make sure it doesn't wrap any of these, so we can kind of see everything at once. So you can see here, we didn't actually pull the ASIN in, but it'll give you your title, all of your bullet points, your description, your search terms, your subject matter, and we are good to go. And we don't need to use words either. Terrific. So we'll go ahead and save that. And now we'll move on to image optimization.